Hey, friends. Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host, Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey, Hallmarkies. Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and today I'm very excited to be joined by my new friend, Sidney, from the Merry Movie Club on Instagram to chat about Hallmark Countdown to Christmas and Miracles of Christmas week 4, which includes 5 gold rings, trivia at St. Nick's, and 'tis the season to be Irish. Welcome to the podcast, Sidney.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. I'm so happy to be here, and I was so honored to even get the
Of course.
invitation. I'm excited to
I'm
chat.
so excited to have you on. And before we get started, how did you get into watching Hallmark movies and how did you start your Instagram? How did that come about?
Yeah, I have always loved Hallmark since
Yeah.
I was little. Me and my mom used to love watching Hallmark movies together.
Yeah.
She really just like kind of taught me that entertainment or like what we consume really
Mhm.
stays with you. And so
Yeah.
she always tried to fill our home with like happy music, like
Yeah.
uplifting movies and TV. We were like never watching anything like scary or dark or stressful. So I'm like really
Yeah.
grateful to her for that. So
Mhm.
I've been watching Hallmark movies my whole life, really, and I loved like watching with my mom, and my grandma is a big Hallmark
Mhm.
fan. And then, like in recent years, I would have friends reach out being like, "Hey, I know you're a Hallmark fan. Have you seen this movie?" Or like, which ones should I watch
Yeah.
this season? And so it kind of started organically with my friends just like texting me and asking for recommendations.
Yeah.
And then I started posting some reviews just on like my personal Instagram
Yeah.
page, and everyone like loved it. And I was
Aw.
like, maybe I'm not the only one that watches Hallmark. And so last year, so last October, I
Yeah.
just had the idea to like just start a review page and really lean
That's
into
awesome.
and so
That's awesome.
that's when I started the Merry Movie Club, and I really just review as many Hallmark movies as I can. I
Mhm.
have a 2-year-old and I work full time, so I don't have time to
Yeah.
watch like
Every
everything
single
Hallmark
one.
puts out.
Yeah.
It can be kind of overwhelming, but I do my
Mhm.
best, and it's just been so fun to create a little community of girls who love Hallmark. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, and now I get to chat with more than just my mom and my grandma about it. I get to
Yeah.
chat with all the big fans and even like
Yeah.
actors and actresses. It's just such a fun
Yeah.
community. So that's kind of the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah. It is fun, and I love the Hallmark community. It's great.
Me too. And I want to make it like cool to watch Hallmark. I feel like a lot of people have like the stereotype that like only grandmas watch
Mhm.
Hallmark. I'm like, no, Hallmark is really good. Like they're putting out amazing movies and series
Yeah.
and like fun TV shows. And now with Hallmark
Yeah.
Plus, like there's just so much fun, like happy, uplifting content.
Mhm.
And I just want to make it
Yeah.
like cool again, like cool to watch
Yeah.
Hallmark. So that's my
Yes.
mission.
Yes. So, fun question. If you could recommend one Hallmark rom-com, one Hallmark mystery, and maybe one Hallmark series.
Ooh,
It could
okay.
be TV series or movie
Let me
series.
think about
What would it
this.
be?
Okay. Well, wait, was one of them Christmas or no? A
Oh, yeah,
rom?
you could do Christmas too. I forgot about Christmas.
Well, I have a lot of favorites. I have like
Me
20
too.
favorites, let's be honest. But my favorite, like in recent years, was A Biltmore Christmas. I feel like it's every.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like one I could rewatch forever and like never get sick of it. My favorite, my favorite rom-com. I'm trying to remember. I love like a couple of the spring movies. I love Bottled with Love.
Okay.
I loved Savoring Paris. I obviously love Bethany Joy Lenz. You can see
Yeah,
it
yeah.
here.
Yep.
Um, Just My Type. Like all of the like
Yeah.
she's been in really good spring and summer
Mhm.
movies, so I
Mhm.
love any of those that she's in. Summer Villa, that's an older one. I wouldn't
That's a good
necessarily
one.
be like a comedy,
Yeah.
but it's just amazing. Um,
Yeah.
and then my favorite series I guess it's the same answer for my favorite mystery and my favorite series. I have 2 answers.
Okay.
Mystery 101,
Yep.
that's what got me into Hallmark mysteries. I had never seen any mysteries, and
Okay.
I, like, binge watched all of Mystery 101, and I was hooked. So I would say that one is, like, my all-time favorite, but one of my newer
Mhm.
favorites are the new Aurora Tea Garden
Oh,
movies.
yeah. Those are great.
Those are only available on Hallmark Plus right
Yeah,
now, but
yeah.
those were amazing. I'm, like, I'm really hoping that they make more movies because there's only
Me
3 so
too.
far. I don't
Yeah.
think that they've signed for additional ones yet. So
Yeah.
I'm like hoping and praying for more of the
Fingers
new. I
crossed.
haven't seen the original. I think there's like 17 of
Okay.
the original Aurora Tea
I
Gardens,
think
but
so.
I have
Yeah.
seen the 3 new ones and they were amazing. So
Yeah, they were great. Oh
sorry, that was
gosh.
very scatterbrained. I obviously have like a lot of favorites.
No, I'm in the same boat. Like I cannot pick just one.
Ooh.
But for me, if I had to pick, okay, so I picked two rom-coms. One from recent years, probably Blind Date Book Club with Robert
Oh,
Buckley
I
and
love
Aaron
that movie.
Krakow.
Yes,
Yes.
Robert Buckley was amazing in that. And Nantucket and oh, it was just such a great vibe. I
Yeah.
love that.
An older Hallmark rom-com, probably How to Fall in Love with Eric Mavius and Brooke Dorsey.
I don't think I've
Such
seen that
a cute
one.
one. I think it's
Okay.
2012. It's on Hallmark Plus, as far as I
Okay,
know.
I'm
It's
adding it
still
to my
on.
list. What is it called? How to Fall in Love?
Yeah,
Or oh, How to Fall in. Okay.
it's so cute. It's such a cute rom-com.
Okay.
And Christmas, besides Biltmore, and I won't include Signed Sealed for Christmas because that's a
Yes.
series. So not including that because that's a given. Probably, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Trying to think. Probably 5 more minutes with Nikki DeLoach
Oh,
and
yeah.
David Hayden Jones.
That's a great movie.
Oh, In a Dream of Christmas with Nikki and Andrew. I can't not
Yes.
mention Nikki and Andrew.
I know. I love them. She's
Um,
amazing. Everything she does is amazing.
yes. Mystery series, Signed Sealed. Um,
Oh, yeah. I just
that's
binge watched that last or
yes,
this year for the first time. Loved it. So good.
yes. And then yeah, that's Martha Williamson, creative genius,
Yes.
the master weaver. That's
Hmm.
what all the postables call her, the master weaver. And of course, fantastic ensemble cast. Just Eric, Kristen, Crystal, Jeff, Zach, Gregory, and all really kind people too.
Yeah. All stars.
Yeah. Mystery 101, of course, that's up there. Curious Caterer. I love
Yes.
Garage Sale Mysteries too. TV series. So this is like hour-long TV show, probably When Calls the Heart. But I love them all.
I need
So
still need to watch it. I'm embarrassed that I have not seen it yet.
it's great. It's great. You should definitely check it out.
I need to. It's on my
Yeah.
list for next year. Once I get through like Countdown to Christmas, I'm like ready
Yeah.
to just watch a new series, and that's gonna be it.
Yeah. Yes. Maybe by the time season 12 ends, you'll be able to catch up
I know.
and
Like
binge.
12 seasons. We got this.
Yes. I binged season 1 through most of season 4 in like maybe a week or two.
Okay. So it's doable. They're shorter seasons, so I can do it.
Yeah. Yes. And that's actually what got me into Hallmark too, was
Oh,
When Calls
okay.
the Heart.
I have to watch. Every time I see trailers, it just feels like a show I would love. Like it just
Yes.
looks big, warm hug is what it looks like.
Yes. Writing, acting, all great. So
Yes.
yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it.
I always remember watching the Hallmark Christmas movies when I was younger, but I never really watched on a regular basis until I started watching When Calls the Heart.
Hmm.
Because I didn't even know that they made non-Christmas movies, so I was not aware of that.
I know that's what I found most of my friends when I tell them I'm into Hallmark, they're like I thought that was only on at Christmas. I'm like, no, it's a whole network. Like they have movies all year. And
Yes.
sometimes the non-Christmas I feel like are better.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And before we get into these Christmas reviews, going to Signed, Sealed, Delivered, what is your favorite movie of the series?
Oh, I don't know the episode titles.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, do you know what? I actually think I wrote some of them down. I know
Okay.
I loved the Christmas episodes, obviously.
Yeah. Signed, Sealed for Christmas. Yeah.
Let me see. To whom it may concern, I wrote
That's a
down
good one.
all caps, really loved, 5 out of 5 stars.
Yes.
From Paris with Love, very romantic.
Hmm.
So those are a couple of them. I loved the ones where there was like a military storyline too. I feel like they did a
Yeah.
beautiful job with
Hmm.
those. There was like I think 3 or 4 of those episodes and loved them.
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
The one with Tammy Gillis. The second
Mhm.
one, when she gets off the plane, I cry every time.
Oh, it's such a great
That
story.
reunion, I cry every time.
Yeah, I love it. Want to go rewatch it
I know. I know, me
already.
too. I think my favorite from the TV series episodes, probably To Whom It May Concern, followed by The Treasure Box. Those are my top two of the
Yeah.
hour-long episodes. And then movies, that is really, really hard.
There's
Probably Higher Ground
yes, I remember
with
that one and it's
Gabe
incredible.
and Hattie.
Yes.
To the Altar is number two.
Okay.
Or maybe sometimes they alternate. So sometimes it's To the
Yeah.
Altar is number one, Higher Grounds two. And
Yeah.
then it's really hard because I love them all. Um, Probably From Paris with Love. I know that was a long-winded
Same
answer.
one. We have the same one. I love it.
It's so hard because I love them all so much.
I know. They are. They're just so heartwarming. Yeah,
Yeah,
love that
yeah.
series.
Favorite letter story is probably Gabe and Hattie,
Mm-hmm.
followed by Randy Lynn Amadon, and Truth
Mm-hmm.
Be Told, and The
That's so good.
Impossible Dream. Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, let's get to the movies that we are here to talk about,
Yeah.
which are Five Gold Rings, Trivia at St. Nick's, and 'Tis a Season to Be Irish. And starting with Five Gold Rings, it stars Nolan Gerard Funk and Holland Roden. It was written by, I apologize if I mispronounce her name, Allura Melissa Charles, and directed by Stephen R. Monroe. New York City painter Audrey Moss returns to her small hometown in Minnesota for the holidays and is met with an unexpected quest from her beloved late grandmother to find the owners of five gold rings and return them to their rightful homes before Christmas morning, only 9 days away. So, what were your first impressions on this movie?
I feel bad because this is the
Oh,
first
good.
movie we're covering. I did not love this one,
It's okay.
and I'll explain why, like once we
Yeah.
get into it.
Yeah.
First impressions though, it's definitely a slow burn, and
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely not really a mystery. So I know it's on the Mystery Channel.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into it like kind of thinking there was going to be
Mm-hmm.
a stronger mystery element, and it was
Yeah.
more just like an adventure. They were just trying to find the
Yeah.
owners of these lost rings. And so I think if I went into it kind of viewing it more as like just a little adventure versus like
Mm-hmm.
a mystery, I think
Yeah.
it would have helped. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
see what you're saying. I did think the storyline was unique
Mm-hmm.
with them tracking down the
Yep.
owners
Hmm.
of the five rings. It actually reminded me of Signed Sealed, but
Yes,
instead of
that's
letters, it
true.
was rings.
Yes, that is true.
And a shout out here for the Postables. Nolan Gerard Funk played the guy in the letter story from One in a Million.
Oh, okay. So
The one
okay.
that
Didn't
worked
really.
at Montaldo's. The
Yes. Okay.
server, yeah.
You're right. I'm remembering that now.
Yes.
Fun little. Okay, that's a fun little shout out.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite messages in this movie is faith sees best in the dark. And that was
Hmm.
from the scene when they were talking to Father Lodowick Carlisle.
Hmm.
Great little quote there.
Yeah, that is. I like that.
So let's get into our hits, which is
Okay.
anything you did like or favorite scenes from the movie. Do you have any you would like to share?
I do. Okay, so I do agree that the storyline felt really unique,
Mm-hmm.
even though it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a
Mm-hmm.
mystery and it was like
Yeah.
more of kind of a slower paced story. I did
Yeah.
feel like it was really unique, and I felt
Mm-hmm.
like they did a great job making the stories like feel really
Yeah.
heartwarming and important of finding the owners of those
Yeah.
rings. It wasn't just this like silly little scavenger hunt.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, no, these were really special to the owners, and they were so grateful that they
Yeah.
returned them. So I liked the heartwarming kind of
Yeah.
element of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm just looking at my notes here. Holland, the leading lady, the
Yes.
actress, she's
Yeah.
amazing. I love her.
Yes.
She was in Tip Line, which is the most recent movie I watched.
Mm-hmm.
She's just phenomenal. I feel
She's
like every
great.
scene she's in. She's just like carrying the scene, and I just
Yeah.
love her. I think she's like one of those more like
Hmm.
elevated Hallmark actresses for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, two more things. The flashback at the beginning of the movie with her
That was
grandma, they were like
fun.
beach. That just felt like really
Hmm.
nostalgic, and like the way it was filmed was really cool. And
Hmm.
it was just, like a really sweet moment for their
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
And then okay, can we give spoilers? Because like this is
Yeah.
like a little bit of a spoiler. Okay,
Yeah.
so the final ring, how it
Hmm.
was a gift from her grandma because her grandma had left her these 5 rings to go and find the
Yep.
owner. And then that final ring was a gift from her grandma. It actually wasn't like a lost ring. I thought
Yeah.
that was really cool and just
It
like a
was,
really sweet moment for her
yeah.
to like remember her grandma and connect with her even after she had
Yeah.
passed.
Hmm.
So yeah, those are like the elements that I thought they did really, really
Yes.
well.
I loved how being an artist myself, like I'm a graphic designer, so I loved how they had Audrey as an artist in this movie.
Yes,
So
I
that was
did
really
love
fun.
that. I mean, obviously she was acting, but like
Yeah.
she was so talented. It was like really fun to see her
Yeah.
work.
Yes, it was. So I could relate a little bit to Audrey.
Yeah, a little personal connection.
Yeah. And I loved the antique shop element with
Mhm.
her grandmother's store, which of course was taken over by her mom.
Mhm.
And I loved the relationship that Audrey had with her mom. I thought that was really sweet. Do you have any favorite scenes between Finn and Audrey that you remember?
I don't have specific.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm trying to think of like a specific scene, but I really loved the moments when they like finally would find each of the owners of the ring, and then you kind of
Yeah.
hear the story unfold.
Yeah.
And I feel like it really like connected those two
Hmm.
together, but then also just kind of brought like a higher purpose
Yeah.
to what they were doing. So
Hmm.
each of those scenes, like when they finally found the owner and then
Hmm.
you get to hear the story behind it, those were like my favorite moments across the movie for sure.
Yeah, same. And those were definitely my favorite scenes. All the moments when they would find the owners of the rings, like you mentioned. And then besides that, I think my top two would have to be there's a montage included. It's when they're making all the decorations for the tree, and then we see them standing by the tree after
Yeah.
that. And then the moment at the end when she gives him his Christmas gift, which was
Yes.
the drawing, I believe. And
Yes.
then
That was a
they
sweet
share
moment.
their feelings. Yeah.
The
And
ending,
they
I
live,
thought they did really well.
yes, and they live happily ever after.
Yeah. Who doesn't love that?
Yes, who doesn't love a happily ever after?
Yeah.
I think my favorite of the scenes when they're finding the owners would probably be Frank Kennedy Jr. So when they find Frank Kennedy Sr.'s manuscript for his novel
Hmm.
and they give it back to his son, I thought that was my favorite out of all of those.
Yeah. I agree, actually. They like found it in the desk, right? With like the little
Yes.
key.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
cool. It was like, yeah, that was my favorite, I think, as well.
Yeah. There were some nice moments to this movie.
Yeah. They did a good job. Like
Yeah.
this one, even though it was a slower pace, it
Hmm.
felt just, like heartwarming. It was just
Yeah.
like you just leave feeling like warm and happy.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, the Christmas gala. Who doesn't love a Christmas
Yes. I
gala?
mean, we have to have a Christmas gala.
Yeah. That
She
donates to
was
charity.
beautiful. Her
Yeah.
dress and her updo, like she
Yeah.
just so
Yeah.
beautiful.
And I always love when they incorporate a charity into these
Mhm.
galas.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that.
I'm all for giving back. So
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite parts of some of
Yeah.
these movies. Moving into our misses, which is anything you didn't like or maybe wished for in the movie. Would you like to share some of yours?
I would. Okay. Again, I feel bad because I'm typically not super picky with Hallmark movies.
It's all good.
The main actor, Nolan, or what's
Hmm.
his name in real life?
No
Nolan?
one. No
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
I just there was something about him that I just did not connect with.
Okay.
I think I've been trying to think about why, and I think it's because Holland for me is like such a shining star
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
sometimes the chemistry between those two just
Mm-hmm.
felt a little bit forced, and he just felt kind of
Yeah.
stiff and awkward. And you could tell he just isn't as comfortable on camera as she is.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he were maybe paired with a different actress, they wouldn't have been as apparent. But
Mm-hmm.
she's just so phenomenal that it was like there was a few moments that were just really distracting for me. Like even just kind of like the way he was
Yeah.
standing, like the way he would like like talk about things. I just didn't connect with him, and it's so important for me to connect with the
Mm-hmm.
actors. Like sometimes
Yeah.
there's a couple actors that for me, I just like I feel bad, but I just know I won't like the movie because I just don't love them. And unfortunately, I think he's just one of those actors for me. So
Yeah.
again, that's like pretty rare for me to say, but
Yeah.
just the scenes where they were together and they were like trying to have chemistry just like
Yeah.
fell a little flat for me. So that was like the main reason, but I feel like that's like a personal opinion.
Yeah.
People have been asking me for my review on this movie, and I've been saying like I think it's one of those movies where you either will love it or not love it
All
for
right.
like probably that reason. And
Yeah.
so I think it's just kind of a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, it's totally good.
um, and then, I mean, it is a slower pace, which I
Yeah.
don't mind a slower paced
No.
movie. But again, I went into it like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's on the Mystery Channel. And so I think if my expectations
Mm-hmm.
were like, no, this is going to be more of like a slower, cozy movie, it would have been a little bit better.
Yeah.
So that's just something for me to note is like, okay, maybe not every single movie on the Mystery Channel is going to be this like
Mm-hmm.
action-packed mystery to solve.
Yeah.
And then the last thing for me, I didn't quite understand why she was so mad that her grandma paid him. There was
Mm-hmm.
like a moment where she found out like
Yeah.
her grandma had paid him for his services, and that's like
Yeah.
why kind of why he was helping her with this whole,
Yeah.
unfolding story of who owns these
Mm-hmm.
rings. And she was so mad and like they needed a conflict. I understand that there always needs to
Yeah.
be a
Yeah.
conflict in the movie to resolve, but I didn't really understand that part. I was like, well, why is she mad that his
No.
like she kept offering him throughout the whole movie to
Yeah.
pay services, and then when she found out her grandma had paid him, and then she got super mad. So that part, I
Yeah.
was like, I think they could have maybe thought of like a different conflict.
Yeah.
So
I I
those are my misses, or that's kind of
yeah.
fell
I
flat for me.
I completely agree with that. I actually wrote that down too. Slightly weak conflict with how mad she got about that.
Yeah, I just didn't understand why she was mad. I'm like, isn't that a good thing? Like that he got paid for
Yeah.
spending
Yeah,
all of his
yeah.
time working on this?
Of course, I don't want a, knock down, drag out argument or fight, but it needs to be
Right.
a little stronger than that. I mean, come on now.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
What about
And
you?
I think for me, you were talking about the slow pace, maybe the slow burn. I thought their slow burn was maybe a little too slow.
Hmm.
There are some slow burns that do it perfectly, and
Yep,
then some not so much. And this one was one that was not so much, unfortunately. And I hate that because I love Holland and I
I
like
agree.
Nolan too.
And I
Yeah.
think it needed to be a little quicker because they already knew each other beforehand. Like
Yeah.
I understand if it's a little bit of a slower burn, if maybe
Yeah.
um they just met. But like it sounds, I think they were like childhood friends or they at least knew
Yeah.
each other, growing up. And so it felt like stiff for people
Yeah.
who knew each other
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. And two slow burns, well, actually three, that are perfection. Jack and Elizabeth, When Calls the Heart, Daniel Lissy and Aaron Krakow. Kevin McGarry, Aaron Krakow is Nathan and Elizabeth. And then I can't not mention Shane and Oliver.
Oh,
Can't not.
yes. The best slow burn of all time.
The best slow burn.
Yes, I
Like
agree.
perfection.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm all about a slow burn, but if you have like one movie, you gotta make it a little quicker.
Yes. A little bit quicker. But I think my only other thing, it's more of a wish or a question. How long was the time jump in the beginning? Because they didn't say like some movies do.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even catch that, but you're
I
right.
never
They
really
didn't.
understood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't specify that at all.
No, it just jumped from the beach scene, the flashback scene to the shop. without
Yeah,
how many
that's a
years
good point.
later.
That's a
Yeah.
really good point. Usually it says like 20 years later, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That would be my guess about 20 years later.
Yeah, they just wanted to leave it ambiguous.
Yes, which is totally okay. I mean,
Yeah.
not a
Good catch.
huge thing, but something I would have loved to have
Those
known.
little things matter though,
Yeah, yeah.
for the
Of
audience.
course,
You're
yeah.
like, wait, how old are they? What stage of life are they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So moving into our ratings, what would you give this for a cast out of 5?
For cast, oh gosh. Holland is a 5 for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nolan's like a 1. So
Oh,
I guess
that's okay.
I'm sorry, I feel bad.
It's
Um,
okay.
I guess overall, like maybe like a 2 or 3 out of 5.
Okay,
I just
that's fair.
I just
Yeah.
didn't like him. I just didn't like him.
It's totally okay. I mean, we're not gonna like every single one, so
Yeah.
it's totally okay. And it's
Okay.
good to have differing opinions on
Yeah.
the movie. So
Yeah.
I think I would give it like overall the cast as a whole probably 4.
Okay.
I mean, I thought the
Yeah.
supporting cast was
Mhm.
great too.
I did too. The mom and some of the
Yeah,
like people in the community and yeah.
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 So that's why I gave it higher because of the
That's,
supporting
yeah,
cast as well.
that's true. That's a good point.
Chemistry between, I guess, Holland
Like a
and
like a 2
that's okay.
for me. I just didn't connect
Yeah, it's
with it.
okay. I
Yeah.
gave it 3,
Okay.
which is just a little bit higher, but
Yeah.
it didn't blow me away, but it wasn't absolutely the worst chemistry, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Christmas feels.
Probably like a 3.
I
Um,
said
yeah,
3. Yeah.
it didn't feel overly Christmassy to me.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Yeah.
but it felt like cozy, I guess. Like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
cozy. Yeah,
Yeah.
3. 3 feels
I gave
right.
it 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Setting. So I
Probably a
guess
3 for me as well.
yeah, the sets and
Yeah, the scenery, yeah, the sets, and I
yeah.
did like her, like the antique shop,
Mm-hmm.
the art element. I liked how they went to multiple places to find the owners. So I would say
Yeah.
like 3.5 maybe for setting.
Yeah. I gave it 4 for setting,
Yeah.
mostly because of the antique shop. And antique
Yeah,
shopping is fun.
I did love that part. Yep.
Yes. Story. So
The
that's a
story's
rating.
higher for me. I would give the story probably a 4. Uh,
Okay.
just because again, it was unique. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say the story's
Yeah.
higher for me.
Yeah. I gave it 3.5, which is a
Yeah.
little bit lower. And then overall.
Like this math is not adding up, but
It's
for
okay.
which I realize, but like my gut feeling overall is like a 2 out of 5, which again, I realize that math
Yeah.
doesn't. So I guess if I were adding it up correctly, it'd probably land more at like a 3.5 out of 5. But like my gut just tells me like a 2 out of 5 for me, only because like I
Yeah.
won't rewatch it. I'm not gonna recommend it to
Yeah.
people. I just like didn't love it.
Oh, I
But
totally
scores
understand.
don't
Yeah.
work. So maybe I loved it more than I think I did.
Yeah. I said 3.5. So it's for me, I enjoyed it, but I probably wouldn't highly recommend it. It's one I would have on in the background.
Yeah, definitely a background movie for sure. It's not one I'm
Hmm.
like, sitting down. I like need to catch all
Yeah.
the moments. Like, yeah.
Yeah. It's not like Signed Sealed where I'm like glued to
No,
the TV
yeah.
every
There are
time I watch.
hallmarks where I am glued and I'm like, I can't be a mom right now. I can't be a what. Like, I just need to watch this movie. This was not one of them.
Yes. And not just Signed Sealed. I mean, there are other movies too
Yes,
on
there's
Hallmark
so many.
that I'm
Yeah,
like
so
glued to
many.
the TV.
Yeah.
Next is Trivia at St. Nick's. It stars Brant Doherty and Tammin Sursik. It was written by Christine Garver and Stephanie Jackson and directed by Marlo Hunter. When students all flee an elite university in Vermont for winter break, the locals and faculty hunker down for their favorite time of year, the annual Christmas Bar Trivia Tournament. Due to a last-minute change-up, an astronomy professor and a football coach must endure the ultimate holiday scavenger hunt on campus. What were your first impressions of this movie?
First impression, it's a fun movie. I
Yeah.
liked the trivia element, and I would say this is probably another one that feels a little bit more of a background movie.
Hmm.
Um, it's again not one I think you need to be glued to your television and hang
Yeah.
on every word, but
Hmm.
it's just like a fun,
Yeah.
Christmas, happy, easy Hallmark movie.
My first impression, I also agree, a creative, fun concept with the trivia tournament. Not something we've ever seen on Hallmark, I don't think.
Mm-mm.
And a message I got out of this movie was a quote from Max when he was talking about focusing on the things that matter and to slow down and just enjoy being together with family and friends over the holidays.
Love it.
I thought that was a good message. Moving on to our hits. What are some things you did like about this movie or any favorite standout moments?
Yes, I have a few I wrote down.
Okay.
Number one is Brant. I feel like he is just
Yes.
lovable.
Yeah.
He's just like goofy but charming and
Yeah.
super thoughtful. And
Hmm.
for me, he was like the star of the show.
Hmm.
And I just thought he just like leans into his character so well.
Hmm.
And I just love
Yeah.
him. He's
He's
just great.
great. Yeah.
Um, I also loved the dynamic of the trivia team.
Hmm.
Like
Yes.
there's like friendships and their
Yeah.
relationships and like all of their personalities
Hmm.
mixed together were just really fun.
Yeah.
And it was just fun to see like this group of friends and family like spending the
Yeah.
holidays together doing this like trivia
Hmm.
tradition. So I thought that dynamic was really fun and I was like rooting for all six, I think there were
Hmm.
six of them. I was like rooting for all of them.
Yeah. Me too.
Um I loved this scene. Okay, so there's a scene where he takes her on this like really cute, thoughtful date to
Okay.
like the Christmas villages.
Yeah.
That was so cute.
That
I
was
think
really sweet.
it was a fun change of scenery, and I'll talk about this
Yeah.
later. Um, a lot of the movie was at the pub, and so it was like a fun change of scenery. They like
Hmm.
went, on a date, and you got to see them
Hmm.
connect,
Yeah.
without the group and without any like trivia
Hmm.
distractions. So I really liked that scene.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're going to mention it because I feel like all the Hallmark fans have mentioned it. But there's a scene at the end. Yes, you're nodding. Where they do
Yeah.
like the Hallmark trivia. And is this what you were thinking of? Yes.
Yes. I
And
knew
they're
the answers.
it was to me too. I was like yelling at my TV. I'm like standing up and like yelling the answers. I'm like, I'm ready. And that was just like such a fun wink to Hallmark
Yeah.
fans. My husband was like, what? Like he's like watching football on his phone. He's like, what is going on? I'm like, I need to answer this trivia question. Like, I've got this. I was made for this moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my
Um,
goodness.
so that was so fun. I feel like Hallmark has done a really good job this season of like giving these little winks to Hallmark fans.
Yeah.
In what was the movie just barely Holiday Mismatch? They did like a little wink to the Sabrina the Teenage Witch because those actors
Yeah.
like they've just done a really good job of these little like moments to catch if you're like
Yeah.
a fan. And so yeah, the trivia was like so fun. I was good job Hallmark for that
Yeah.
moment.
I'm not gonna lie. I wish they had added more Hallmark
Me
trivia
too.
questions.
I know I'm like do a whole round. Like let's do a whole round of Hallmark movies. Like keep them coming.
Yeah, I knew right away. I was like, "Haul at the Holly lit up."
Yep.
Next stop, Christmas.
Same. So
Oh my
fun. I
gosh.
love when they do like those moments for the big fans because it just is like another reminder of why you love the network because I feel
Yeah.
like they create the content for the fans.
Yeah.
And
And
so fun.
Next Stop Christmas was actually one of the first Christmas movies I reviewed on this podcast.
Oh, little throwback moment for you.
One of the first, yeah.
Okay, so that's my list. It was a long
Yes.
list.
Oh,
What's your
it's okay. So I loved the name of their team, the Quizmas Elves. That was so cute.
so cute.
The comedy and the banter was fun. And going back to the trivia, the Hallmark trivia scene, I love when one of them, I think it was Ashley, she was like, hauling out the holly. And the other guy was like, no, it's haul out the holly lit up.
So good. So
Oh
good.
my gosh. But yeah, not just that scene, the banter and comedy was great in the whole movie,
Really
I think.
quick, like quick, witty dialogue in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Max and Celeste's meet cute. That was pretty funny when he cuts in
Yes.
line in
Yeah,
the
that was
buffet line.
mhm.
I was like, no, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, back of the line, Betty.
Yep. And then the older lady was like, can you move along or
Yeah,
just kiss already because you're under the mistletoe?
I love it.
Oh my gosh. I think my other favorite scene with the trivia would probably have to be when they're doing the Christmas themed TV episodes and they win
Mhm,
their first round. That was a nice moment. While we didn't see a whole lot of it, I loved the relationship that Celeste had with her mom. And that one scene where they're talking about her dad
mhm.
was really sweet and touching. Team bonding with rock climbing, that was really fun. Have you ever been rock climbing?
No. Nope.
I haven't been in a while. Not
Yeah.
actually on like an actual rock, but when I was in elementary school, my school for I can't remember if it was like a Halloween fair or an oyster roast, they had one of the like rock climbing walls and I did it and it was a
Oh,
lot of fun.
fun. Good for
Yeah.
you. I'm like not coordinated, so that I no thanks.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I was always scared I was gonna fall.
I bet. It's like scary to me.
And it's hard too.
I know. You gotta
It
be
takes
strong.
a lot of strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta love a holiday baking montage. That was really
Yes,
fun with the gingerbread cookies.
yes, very cute.
What is your favorite Christmas cookie?
Oh, this is very random, but my we don't have very many Christmas traditions in my family, but we
Okay.
do have like one main one, and that is making, they're called kolachkis.
Okay.
My family is like German and Czechoslovakian, and so they're these
That's
like
awesome.
almost like a shortbread kind of sugar cookie
Yeah.
with like a fruit filling in the middle. And we make them at my grandma's every year. And we wear like super Christmassy sweaters and
That's
aprons and like the
awesome.
whole day baking. We make like
Yeah.
500 cookies and like bring them to neighbors. And anyway,
Yeah.
those are my favorite because that's like my like little Christmas tradition cookie.
Yeah.
What
That's
about you?
awesome. Oh, favorite Christmas cookie? Can't go wrong with chocolate chip. I love a good sugar cookie.
Yes. And the cookie
Um,
dough is so good too.
hmm Gingerbread cookies. I like gingerbread. I like the snickerdoodle cookies too. Those are always good. Yeah. Baking cookies and decorating cookies is always a tradition. I always try to do that at Christmas with one of my cousins.
Which is why I love a baking moment in the Hallmark movies because I
Yeah.
feel like everyone can relate because pretty much everyone finds themselves baking at some point
hmm
during the holidays. So
Yes.
cute.
I think 2 years ago, one of my cousins and we attempted to make sugar cookies. So we had to make them 3 times. The first time we made them, I made the mistake. My grandmother has one of those racks with the holes in it,
Yes.
the cooling rack. I put the dough on the cooling rack, and then the dough
Oh,
just like
yeah. Yeah.
seeped through the.
Yeah. It happens, happens to the best of us.
And then the second time, we put them on the baking sheet right, but then we charred them and they were like completely black.
Yeah, third time's the charm.
I also loved the getting to know you trivia that Max and Celeste did, I think after one of the trivia night scenes. That was really fun. And then probably the scavenger hunt would be my other favorite moment.
Yes, super cute.
Yeah. And then the victory dance from Gary and Sherry. We won. We won. That was really fun.
I know their characters were so lovable.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved their
Rudy's so lovable.
dynamic. I kind of wish we had seen more of them.
Me
Not gonna
too.
lie.
Probably hard to
Yeah.
fit in with like how much
Yeah.
is going on, but I agree with that. I almost would
Yeah.
like be fine with a sequel, like next
I
year's
was
and kind of get
gonna
a sense
say that.
of
Maybe
what's
a
happening.
spinoff.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
Moving on to Mrs. Would you like to share some of yours?
Yes, I wrote down I think like three or four.
Okay.
Okay, first, the chemistry between Max and Celeste for me
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like
Yeah.
supernatural or like believable. I feel
Yeah.
like they were kind of going for like opposites attract, but wait, are we actually that opposite?
Mm-hmm.
But they just felt like such different personalities that I feel like in real
Mm-hmm.
life they probably wouldn't vibe. And like
Yeah, I agree.
there would probably be some major red
Yeah.
flags with him, like on her side.
Yeah.
Um, so the chemistry for me wasn't like quite as natural as
Mm-hmm.
I
No.
think it could be or
Yeah.
in other movies. The trivia, I did think it was like a really fun and unique element. I just felt like it was a little bit overdone.
Mm-hmm.
They had, I think, 5 rounds of trivia. And
I
so it
think
just
so.
started to feel a little
Yeah.
repetitive.
Yeah.
I would have liked a little bit more variety in the
Mm-hmm.
setting. I feel like most of the movie was like in the
Like
pub
the mm-hmm.
doing this trivia tournament, and it
Yeah.
didn't feel like there was a lot of like variety in like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
scenery. So yeah, I think they maybe leaned into the trivia element a little too much. And then Celeste, I think, was a little too intense about
Yeah.
trivia. Um, I know that they ended up kind of turning it into this like
Mm-hmm.
lesson she had to learn of realizing like
Yeah.
it's more about having fun and making holiday
Yeah.
memories and bonding with your team than
Yeah.
it is about like winning.
Yeah.
But they just made her character like so intense and so obsessed with trivia
Mm-hmm.
that it was a little bit distracting. And I also
Yeah.
kind of looping back to the chemistry, like for Brant's character, I like wouldn't he get a little like it's a little bit of a red flag, like it's a little bit annoying just how much she was into the trivia and she just took it so
Yeah.
seriously. So I think they like again, I think they just leaned into the trivia a little bit too
Yeah.
much.
I actually agree.
But
I
it was
actually agree with that.
a little intense. And then the
Yeah.
last was there was like a side story with I don't remember exactly, but it was like a foreign like there's like some foreigner kids that were like in town for the holidays. I don't know if it was like an like a
Yeah.
foster care or something, but that just felt like really random and unnecessary. I feel like they were
Yeah.
like throw a little like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, heartwarming like element
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
it. It just like didn't really work and it just felt
Mm-hmm.
really random. And
Yeah.
I feel like I would have rather them taken that, probably 5 to 10 minutes of screen
Mm-hmm.
time and given that to like either the team and like more of the team dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
like Celeste and Max and their chemistry, or
Mm-hmm.
like something outside of the pub. But it just felt like they like forced this random like side story into it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even like remember what it was, but it was like those foreign kids. I think it was like a foster care situation or
Yeah.
something.
I think so too. Yeah.
Those are my thoughts.
Yes. I actually agree with all of your thoughts. And then I wish I had. Maybe this could have been something that they replaced for that storyline. Freddie and Ashley, I wanted to see more of.
Yes, they were so fun. I loved their personalities.
Yeah. And I thought it was sweet the moment at the end when she tells him that she's pregnant.
Yeah, that was really cute. I was glad she did
Yeah.
it like that versus like waiting until Christmas.
Yeah.
I thought that was really
Yes.
natural
Yes.
and really sweet.
It was a good movie. Another
Yep.
middle of the road background watch for me. So I enjoyed it, but not the best of the year so far. Moving on to ratings, what would you give this forecast out of 5?
I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay. I said 4 too. And chemistry,
Probably a 3 out of 5.
that's what I said.
Yeah.
Christmas feels,
Probably a 3 out of 5.
okay. I said 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And setting,
Probably a 3.
yeah.
I think
And
we needed
story,
some variety, some variety.
yeah. Story,
Probably 3.5 out of 5.
okay. And overall,
Overall, this felt like a 3 out of 5, maybe like a 3.5 out of 5. It seems like a good background
mm-hmm.
movie, and I
Yeah.
actually would enjoy a sequel,
Mm-hmm.
just to get a little like more to the story, I think, and another round of
Yeah.
trivia. It felt like a 3 out of 5. Probably wouldn't think to like rewatch it or
Yeah.
tell friends to watch it, but like I'm happy I watched it and I enjoyed it overall.
Yeah. I think so too. That's the same way I feel.
Hey.
I gave it 3 for story and for overall. Moving on to "'Tis the Season to Be Irish." It stars Owen Macken and Fiona Gubelman. It was written by Joa Botkin and Samantha Herman and directed by Leslie Dimitriadis. A house flipper heads to Ireland to renovate and sell a cottage, but her plans change when she meets a local realtor determined to preserve his town's heritage. What were your first impressions on "'Tis the Season to Be Irish"?
I enjoyed it. I think this was
Yeah.
another slower paced movie,
Mm-hmm.
but typically when Hallmark does these like abroad, I don't know the right word, but abroad movies,
Mm-hmm.
like a destination type movie, they
Destination.
are slower and I feel like they really lean into
Yeah.
the scenery and the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that was the standout was just how
Yeah.
beautiful Ireland is and the cute little town.
Yeah.
And you really get a glimpse of like their culture and their way of living. And that was my first impression or overall impression was like, Ireland's amazing. I want to go book a ticket and visit right now.
That's what I was going to say too. How can we book a ticket to
Yes.
Ireland?
Yes.
Because it just looks beautiful. Ireland in itself was a character.
Agreed. The scenery was insane, and they did such a great job with
Yeah.
the almost like a drone shot of
Yeah.
showing the cliffs and like the cute town and all of
Yeah.
the cottages. It just felt so
Yeah.
Irish.
Yeah, I agree. And a lesson I took out of this movie was it was a quote from Mary, so Sean's mother, and it's when she says, "We must adventure in order to know where we truly belong, but at some point we must belong." And I feel like that's a little bit of subtext too. I mean, not necessarily traveling, it could just mean going out and doing maybe something that scares you.
Hmm.
Taste is scary, as artist
Yes.
Parker Pennington Payne says in
Yes, there you
Seinfeld.
go.
So yeah, because you never know. It could be,
Never know where it's gonna take you.
yeah, it could be the best decision you make in your life, no matter what that is. Moving on to our hits. What are some things you did like about this movie or any standout moments?
The first is Ireland, which we already mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Scenery was incredible. I feel like it really just transported you
Mm-hmm.
to Ireland,
Yeah.
which I'm assuming was the point. So good job,
Yeah,
Hallmark.
yeah. Yes.
The cast was great. I really loved the
Mm-hmm.
friendship between the three ladies.
Yeah.
Like how quickly they formed this really cute friendship.
Yeah.
And I also really liked the relationship that kind of blossomed with what was Fiona's character's name?
Rose.
Rose, with Rose and then his mom. I thought
Mary.
that was like a really sweet relationship that blossomed and she made her feel
Yeah.
so like welcomed and included
Yeah.
and part of the family. And it didn't seem contingent on her dating her son. It was just like, hey, we're so happy you're here. We want to welcome you into this, this town. And I just really liked that part.
Yeah.
And then a couple of my favorite scenes. Number one was when there was a moment where the three friends went out to the cliff and they were going to possibly scatter one of the friends' husband's ashes.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't quite ready
Yeah.
to scatter the ashes yet, but they just had a really cool moment between the three friends. And then the other friend was a beautiful singer and she sang this song. And it was just like a really heartfelt moment. I like got teary-eyed and
Mm-hmm.
Hallmark, I think, handled that whole situation really well because I think that's
Yeah.
realistic that this lady wouldn't be ready to scatter her husband's ashes and say
Mm-hmm.
goodbye. And so I think that they handled it really well, how it like took her
Yeah.
multiple times of trying. And then she ended up having her kids come to help her. So
Mm-hmm.
that whole storyline I thought was really sweet. And then the sheep that followed her around, the
Lamb
road,
chop.
that was so funny. Like just felt so random, but it just made the movie feel just like
Yeah.
lighthearted and funny. And then there was another scene where there was like they did like a cold plunge at the lake, like at the
That was
very,
fun. Yeah.
and that was just like fun and different. So those are my
Yeah.
standout.
I think another favorite scene or two favorite scenes with Sean and Rose would be their morning walk and talk by the fairy tree. I thought that was really sweet. And then when they're trimming the tree inside the cottage, I thought was really nice.
Yes.
Oh, and also their talk on the sofa about movies and dating, and she's like, I don't like rom-coms.
Yeah. Again,
That,
another cute nod, like to Hallmark, like a little wink at Hallmark and the Hallmark
yeah.
fans.
He wanted to watch a Christmas rom-com and she was like, I want to watch Die Hard.
Yeah. He's like, no, we should watch a little Hallmark or what? Yeah, a little
Yeah.
rom-com.
Yes. Yeah.
Rom-com.
I
Fun.
think probably my favorite scene that is not Sean and Rose is the one at the cliff that you mentioned with her and Sandy and Caitlin. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, I got literal chills and
Yeah, me too.
I was tearing up.
Me too. That was an incredible scene. They did that.
Yes. And also not just because of this movie that I got emotional. It took me back to I'm not gonna spoil it because you have not seen it, but it took me back to a scene in When Calls the Heart,
Oh,
season
okay.
4.
Don't spoil it. No spoilers.
You'll know exactly what I was talking about in this moment when you watch
Yes.
that.
Okay, I'll text you as soon as I as soon as I watch it.
Oh, that'll make you cry too, but I won't say anymore because if I
Yeah.
do, it'll just ruin the whole thing. Not ruin, but it'll spoil it.
Spoil it, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I also loved when they were making the mince pies. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, a bit little baking moment again.
Yeah, another baking moment. I have never had a mince pie. What about you?
Nope. I'm
Those
open
are
to
pretty good. Yeah, I've never had them. And moving on to Mrs. What were some things you wished for or didn't like about this movie?
I didn't have that many. I was really trying to
Yeah.
think. I wrote down two things. Number one,
Okay.
I really would have liked to see more of the cottage renovation. I feel
Yeah.
like they made that such a big, I mean, basically the
Mm-hmm.
main point of the story, but then
Mm-hmm.
you never really got to see a lot of the cottage. There was like a
Yeah.
couple quick moments. So I would have loved more of like a before and after, or
Mm-hmm.
just more time spent in the cottage or around the cottage.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they, maybe they couldn't because of the set or something,
Yeah.
but it felt like such a focal point of the story, but then like we didn't actually get to see like the cottage. And then at the end, spoiler alert, but when she
Yeah.
decides to stay, I'm like, well, doesn't she still need like heating and water and like a lot of things?
Yeah.
So that the cottage element felt like a little like unfinished to me.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I wrote down is the chemistry for me didn't happen quite quick enough. We talked about this
Mm-hmm.
earlier.
Yeah.
Um like halfway through the movie, I was like, wait, are they gonna be together? Or like, did I miss
Are they
something?
not? Yeah.
Like, are they just friends?
Yeah.
Um, so for me, it just didn't happen soon enough. They really just kind of felt like friends for the first like
Mm-hmm.
solid half of the movie. And then
Yeah.
starting kind of halfway through, maybe I think with like the movie night, they like
Mm-hmm.
to like connect a little bit
Yeah.
more. But it felt more of a story of like friendship, which I'm fine
Mm-hmm.
with, but it felt more of
Yeah.
a story of like friendship and like finding herself, finding her
Mm-hmm.
home. So maybe that was the point, but I just
Mm-hmm.
like I seriously was like, are they gonna be together? Like, are they just friends? Like, is this not a romance movie?
Yeah.
That part fell a little short for me.
Yeah. I did like the enemies to friends to lovers
Yeah.
trope, but it did drag on maybe a little too
Mm-hmm.
slow.
Yep.
But I mean, it was still nice. I thought they had good chemistry, not blow you out of the water, amazing chemistry, but it was nice.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. I think one thing for me, I would have loved to have seen more of the pop star in hiding storyline with Caitlin.
For sure. I'm like, tell us more about this pop star. Like,
Yeah.
love to see some backstory there or see
Yeah.
her more. That was really, yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point.
That was definitely a twist I did not see coming. Like, I did not expect her to be a pop star. Like, what?
No, me neither. It was so random. And then they kind of never like did anything with it. So maybe those scenes got cut or maybe I don't know.
Maybe.
They should
Yeah.
have done something with that for sure.
Yeah. And going back to the home renovation and how we wanted more of that, I also wanted to hear more about the original architecture and what made the house so special. That would have
Agreed.
been nice.
Just some more backstory and
Yeah.
more like focus on the home since it was like
Yeah.
of her moving to
Yes.
Ireland.
Yes. And of
Good.
course, Sean did lighten up as the movie went on, but I think in the beginning he was a little too controlling, maybe. I
Yep.
mean, he was the town preservationist. I think he was also the mayor.
Mhm.
He did a lot of stuff in town. Maybe pull back a little bit on that.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't hate it, but it was a little too
Uh-huh.
controlling. And then one other thing I'll say, a little bit lacking in Christmas feels. I thought it
Mhm.
could have taken place any time of the year. I mean, I still enjoyed the movie, but not as Christmassy as I had hoped.
I agree. I almost am like it felt more like a spring movie, like a spring or summer movie, but then like they
Yeah.
threw decorations around town and call it a
Hmm.
Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Um, but like some of the drone shots, like it was like blue skies and like super green. I'm like, they probably filmed this in the summer. So I feel
Yeah,
like it
yeah.
didn't need to be a Christmas movie. I think they could
Yeah.
have saved it for like spring or summer.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. And going into our ratings, what would you give this movie for cast out of 5?
I'll probably give it a 4 out of 5 for cast.
Okay. I said 4.5.
Great.
Yeah. And chemistry?
That's probably 3 out of 5.
Okay. I said 3.5.
Okay.
Christmas feels?
Probably a 3.
That's what I gave it to. Setting? I said
Well,
5.
if we're talking, yeah, if we're talking Ireland, like five
Yeah,
out of five,
yeah. And story?
3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I said 3.5. And overall?
Overall, this is probably another 3 out of 5, maybe 3.5 out of 5.
Okay. I said 3.5. I mean,
Yeah,
it was a good
3.5.
movie.
Yeah, 3.5 feels right. My grandma actually texted me, and this was
Aw.
her favorite of the whole season so far. So
Aw, that's
I think
awesome.
some people like really connect with
Yeah.
the movie and just
Yeah.
really enjoy it. For me, it felt like a good Hallmark
Yeah.
movie, not
Yeah.
a great Christmas movie.
Yeah. Yeah. A good Hallmark movie.
Yeah,
Christmas, middle of the road.
agreed.
Background watch again.
Background watch again.
Yes. Well, this was so much fun, Sydney. Thank you for joining me. I had a great time.
Thank you, Nicole. It's an
Of
honor to
course.
be here. So much
Of
fun to
course.
chat Hallmark
Yes.
as always.
Yes. And I can't wait to have you back again someday in the
Would
future.
love to.
Yes. All right, Hallmarkies. I think that wraps up our review of Hallmark Countdown to Christmas and Miracles of Christmas 2024 Week 4. If you enjoyed this episode and are watching on YouTube, you can like this video and share your thoughts about the movies in the comments. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure to rate and review, as your feedback is always greatly appreciated. If you want to stay up to date on all of my episodes, you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube or follow along on Spotify, and make sure to turn on the bell so you are alerted when new episodes come. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next time. We love y'all. Bye.